Now I'm ready. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Nini, and today we're finally doing the sketchbook tour. So I had actually recorded a version previously about my sketchbook, but the camera was too shaky, so I had to figure that out. And I had finished editing that video, but I didn't like it, so I decided to re-record it. So yeah, this is my 6th sketchbook. I worked on it from July of 2025 until May 2026. So I think that's like 10 months. And yeah, if you like this content, please consider subscribing, and let's go ahead and get started. So I don't quite remember where all of the stickers came from. I got this one from the GSU, I think it's like a journaling club. Or actually, it might not be from the GSU Journaling Club, but I do know it's from GSU. These ones are from Kinokuniya. This one I got as a souvenir from Amicalola Falls. And I don't remember who I got this from, but I got it at an Asian festival that I went to. And then these two are my characters, Mongol and Karma. And I got these printed using Shopify, and I don't like them anymore because I was testing the quality. These are just test stickers and they haven't held up, so I'm going to be switching sticker providers. And this sticker I got from my friend. Yeah. Oh yes, this is a Ohuhu mixed media square bound sketchbook. It's 8 inches by 8 inches, I believe, and I think it has like maybe 120 or 180 pages. I forget. It has a lot of pages. That's why it took so long. But yeah, this is my 3rd time using the sketchbook. I really love it. The paper quality is really good, and it's a nice size for travel. Yeah, this is the intro spread. I believe I made this into a video. Let me see if I can. Hold on. Okay, I think that's better. Okay, so yeah, this has the start date, this is sketchbook number 6, and my main character, Mongol. This was a video. Yeah, sorry about that. This was a video. I used these cheap markers that I got from Ross that were like $5, I think. These are acrylic markers. But yeah, that's up on my channel if you want to watch that. So these are my sketchbook goals. I wanted to do some real life studies, some more storyboards, some comic practice, and I wanted to develop 2 locations in my Mongol story, which is this cat character story. I only managed to do 2 of these. And yeah. So this is my human character, Kindle. I don't draw her very often, but I felt like I needed to at least draw her in the cover page, or one of the cover pages, or else I wasn't going to draw her at all, because that's what typically happens. And yeah, so I did this with my Derwent Inktense watercolor set. And I like how it turned out, and I used some Prismacolors for some of the details, but I like how it turned out. Very cute. More Mongol. This was planning for the intro spread. I basically just drew his whole body and then went over it with some of the acrylic markers. And then if you watch that starting my sketchbook thing video, you saw that this was a watercolor sketch before, but I got these new acrylic markers. They're called Guangna acrylic markers, and I love them so much. And so I went back over the sketch with my acrylic markers, and it turned out pretty nicely. I like this green shadow that I gave him. It really matches like the ambiance of the scene. So for some of these sketches, they're not exactly chronological. I do come back and like beautify them. And that's what I did with this one. Yeah, those Guangna markers are really good. I pretty much influenced quite a few people in my drawing classes to get them. They have really good coverage and a good variety. I think I did my New Year's illustration with them. That's also a video. This was swatching for those cheap markers that I was talking about. And this was testing them out for the first time before even doing this spread. And then I did some food studies with those cheap markers as well, which I like how they turned out, especially these shrimp. This was planning for my thumbnail for Art Fight. I used something like this for my Art Fight announcement. I was on Team Fossils, and I do plan on doing Art Fight again this year. I'm very excited. This will be my second year doing it. Yeah. I hate this. This was thumbnailing for my sketchbook tour video. This was an exhibition that I was a part of as a Gilman Scholar. I went to South Korea back in 2023, and I used the Gilman Scholarship to fund that. And so one of the people who also received a Gilman Scholarship was hosting an exhibition at Oglethorpe University. And so I submitted an illustration of Woljung Bridge for showing at that exhibition, which I still need to go by and pick it up. It's been a little bit. Yeah, more acrylic marker sketches, food sketches. They don't look great. This is my character Pepper from the same Mongol story universe. I still don't have a title for that story. Maybe I'll come up with one this year. Who knows? But yeah, this is the cheap acrylic markers. I used some pens. They're called Tool pens, TUL pens. They're very nice for sketching, and they have a good color variety, nice vibrancy. And then this one was done with watercolor, and my Tombow, no, not Tombow Fudenosuke. It was a Kuretake. It's this pen. I think I did a video on it. Tambian pen. Yeah, it's. I've done a lot with this pen, this brush pen. Yeah. So this fish is pretty much my motif at this point, especially from my senior portfolio. I just graduated with a BFA in drawing, painting, and printmaking, and I did pretty much my whole senior portfolio surrounding this fish and like marine life. And so you'll see towards like the latter half of the sketchbook a lot of marine based sketching. But I got that idea to use fish based off of my Mongol story. So this is just like scenery. This is the Emperor's City, which is a city on the back of a humpback whale that flies through the sky. I'm not sure how to explain it in the context of cats, but it's a location, a moving location in my story. So this is Mongol and Pepper. I sketched this with pen and then went over it with my ink brush pen and then the cheap acrylic markers. And so this is kind of like showing a little bit of backstory between Mongol and Pepper. So Mongol used to be a really high-ranking official in the Emperor's City, but then he got kicked out after rebelling against the Emperor. And so even though he's no longer a part of the high-ranking officials in the Emperor's City, people on the surface don't really like him. I don't know if I'm explaining this correctly. And so they don't really help him out at first when he first gets banished. And so Mongol kind of gets frustrated and calls them hypocritical. And yeah, this is just a scene of Mongol like trying to get help for Pepper, who is like either injured or has an illness. I don't know. I'm not sure if I explained that correctly. I think I did it better in the first version of this that I did. But yeah, I really enjoy this sketch. I want to make a digital version of it. This is a treehouse sketch that I did with pen and watercolor, and then some random sunflowers that I drew with those cheap acrylic markers. So I own both Tears in the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, and I do a lot of fan art for both of the games. So you'll see quite a bit in the sketchbook, but I drew Rauru with those cheap markers, and I think it turned out so cool. I really need to make some digital, full illustration of him. He's such a cool character. This was testing for that ink brush pen video that I did, which turned into this. It's just Mongo looking cool. In my next sketchbook, I really want to make more fleshed out compositions and illustrations, instead of doing just like character art like this. But I still think this looks cool. His expression is, he's really a cool guy, real cool character. Yeah. I don't like the spread. So this is Kindle and her cat Lapis, who has heterochromia. I think that's a really cool character trait, or not character trait, just like body trait, I guess. These are sticker designs that I did for my characters Pepper, Hunter, and then just like a fish sticker design, which I do want to get into making stickers this year. I found a sticker provider that I want to use, so I just need to actually make the designs. Yeah, I really like this Pepper sticker design. It's so cute. These were characters that I came up with in 2024. This is Rye and Solaria. Rye is a baker, and Solaria is like the queen's personal knight. And they're like falling in love with each other. And they're in this illustration, they're just like talking and being pulled along by this, I think it's like a water buffalo. I'm not quite sure, but his name is Doe. And he's like Rye's baby. She raised him. But yeah, I definitely want to make a full illustration of this. I actually wanted to come back and finish this, but I got lazy because I really was excited to move on to my next sketchbook. So some of these pages aren't quite finished to my standards. Yeah, really cute. More art fight stuff. I was planning out my video format, which that video is up if you want to watch that. More dough. I was trying to decide if I wanted to have him have a peg leg. And I did this with pastel Ohuhu markers, alcohol markers, which are pretty limited color palette too. More acrylic marker stuff. I did this with oil-based markers first, and then I didn't like it, so I went back over it with the Guangna acrylic markers. This is the Emperor. I'm trying to figure out his name. I think I might call him Clementine, since mango is based off of mango. So I wanted them to both be named after fruit. Yeah, I think it might be called Clementine. I don't know, but I like it. I did this with the Guangna acrylic markers. More Zelda fan art. Actually, I did finish Breath of the Wild in November, I think, of last year. But I still haven't finished Tears of the Kingdom. But yeah, I drew Riju and I drew Master Koga. I just thought it was really cool. I did this with water-based markers, and this one with the Guangna acrylic markers. And then some random stickers. I think it turned out so cute. But yeah, sometimes I just don't like the sketches that I did underneath. So I just cover it with extra paper that I have. I had also bought these cheap acrylic markers from Walmart, but they did not work very well, so I never used them again outside of this sketch. So this whole spread is of my character Pumpkin King. He still doesn't have a name either, but he's from my story Pumpkin Blood. I usually work on it every October, November, like spooky season. And yeah, that's him, I guess. I didn't do him justice very much in this sketchbook. I feel like I did it better in my like second sketchbook, I think, which is when I created him, I think. I don't remember. It's been a while. Yeah, I did this with the other cheap markers that I got from Ross, which works so much better than these Walmart brand markers. This is Nurarihyun. He's from Nura Rise of the Yokai Clan, which is a Shonen Jump manga series. He's the main character's grandfather. I draw him all the time. I pretty much draw him in every sketchbook that I do. He's just so cool. I definitely recommend reading the manga. I think the Japanese title is like Nurarihyun no Mago, grandson of Nurarihyun. Yeah, really cool. Oh, this is more Pumpkin King or Pumpkin Blood stuff. I hate this sketch so much. This is one of the ones I would have come back to if I wasn't so lazy. But I had this idea for an animation to the song Puttin' on the Ritz for Halloween with Pumpkin King and his vampire boyfriend. Probably work on that this year. I don't know. If I have the motivation. I have time now that I graduated. Yeah. I did some Treasure Planet fan art. I drew Captain Amelia. I didn't like this at first, but it's growing on me. I did this with alcohol markers. I think this was one of the only points in the sketchbook that I used alcohol markers, because I haven't used them for a long time, and so I got out of practice. And so I don't really like using them anymore. Plus my alcohol markers are kind of old, so they dried out a little bit. I much prefer acrylic markers over alcohol markers. But yeah, and for this sketch I used just a mix of different markers that I had in my pencil bag. But yeah, give us live action Treasure Planet. I love Captain Amelia. Such a cool character. This was an idea for an acrylic painting that I was going to do of a rat king, which is like when all these rats are stuck together. More ideas for acrylic paintings. This was for Art Fight, but I kind of scrapped it and didn't include it in the video. And then this was trying to update my 2D Sona, which I did do. It doesn't look like that. I'll show it later on in the sketchbook. And this is a sticker that my friend gave me. Yeah. More 2D Sona exploration. Does not look like this. I based this one off of my Letterman jacket that I got from Iowa Women's University, but I scrapped it, so. And of course more fish. More Mongol and Karma. I did this with my oil-based markers. I love this chibi one that I did with watercolor. So cute. I need to draw them in chibi form more often. Oh yeah, Karma is Mongol's future love interest in my story. All of these were sketches from Pinterest. I don't really want to use Pinterest anymore because it's like full of AI and ads now. And like sometimes I'll see people using Pinterest references for their final paintings or illustrations, and it just kind of sits wrong with me. So if you're going to use Pinterest, you should like try to change up how do I say this? Like, don't draw exactly what the image is. You should try to change it up a little bit. Except if it's like in your sketchbook. Don't like try to claim it as your own. Like, I've seen this crab drawn so many times before. And probably this bird too. But yeah, I just wanted to practice drawing animals. I love how this ram looks. It looks very kind. This was an idea for an acrylic painting that I did last year. Well, I mean, all this was last year. But I've been watching a lot of the Nautilus live streams on YouTube. And they came across this whale fall. So a whale fall is when like a whale dies, it falls to the bottom of the ocean, and all these little animals come and eat the remains of the whale. And so I wanted to use that for my Mongol story, because the Emperor City is like the city on the back of a whale. So this will be like its opposite location, I guess. And I wanted to have like my fish come and like eat the remains of this whale. And yeah, so I'll pop the actual painting up on screen. I think I'm going to do another version of it. If I have the time. More dough. He's such a cutie patootie. Yeah. It's just me practicing with him. I actually did draw the peg leg in this one. I just don't know how it would work with like bending down and stuff. So I have to figure that out. Oh, so when I was in South Korea in 2024, I would go to this cafe quite often, and they would have like the same playlist going every day. And this song, Slow Boat to China, the Bette Midler version, would be on all the time. And so I really want to make an animation for this song. I think it would be really cool to release it around Christmas. So I'm concepting it in my next sketchbook, which I have already started, by the way. I'll show a little bit of it towards the end. But yeah, I came up with Darlin and Mr. Piano Man. And this was thumbnailing for this little sketch illustration. I believe that this was swatching for the new gouache that I got, because I had been using Kimi gouache for the past few years, but then I stopped using it for a bit and it got molded over, and so I didn't want to have to deal with that again. So I just got like tube gouache. Like, I've been using Winsor Newton and Talens Art Creations gouache, and they've been working pretty well for me. Yeah. I had one of my classmates sit at the piano that we had in one of the classrooms at school, and then I went over that sketch with pen to show Mr. Piano Man. And yeah, more sketches of him. It's cool. This was development of my Emperor City sculpture that I did out of cardboard, paper mache, and paint, and it turned out pretty cool. I didn't like make it the way that I wanted to. I should have made a smaller one first and then made a bigger one, but I'm planning on making another version of this. I'll probably record it, who knows. But the one that I did is like 5 feet long and like 3 feet wide, 3.5 feet. I don't know. But people really liked it. I showed it at my senior exhibition, my senior exit show. I want to make the transport fish as well, if I make it again. These were for my digital class that I did last semester. I made we were doing 3D modeling in Tinkercad, and so I modeled a paint palette in the shape of a fish, and then a pencil holder in the shape of a fish. And so these ones were my first, first vent art, I believe it's called. So it was October 4th. I pretty much had a mental breakdown or a panic attack. I don't know which one it was, but I was crying so hard. I was doing like food delivery, and like all of a sudden I was like overthinking things, and then I just started really crying. And so I got home and I drew all this, and I felt much better afterwards. And I went back over this one with gouache. I really do want to turn this into a full-fledged painting. It probably won't look exactly like this, but I really like the concept. It's really cool turning your pain into art. Yeah, existential crisis sucks. It is what it is. This was a weird empty spread, so I did a whole bunch of doodles. This was a food chicken bowl that I had. This was a sticker that I had on a food delivery that I got. Chicken, sushi, donut, or actually this is a bagel. This, during my freshman or sophomore year of college, in my intro to studio class, our professor made us do dots, dashes, and circles for the whole semester. And that just kind of stuck with me because it kind of taught us patience and like doing repetitive motions to get ready for drawing and like meditative, like in a meditative state. And so I just wanted to do something like that in my sketchbook a little bit. Yeah, I'm really sad. This pen just ran out today. I got it from Blick. Let me see if I can. Yeah. It was this pen. It just ran out today. I can't. Oh, it has a little bit of life, but nothing left. Yeah, I'll have to get another one. It's a very nice pen. This was my 2D Sona. I made a little GIF of it to use for my streams. Some skeleton stuff for Halloween that I wanted to do. These were notes from my artist talk that I gave. And sticker from my friend. I did these with the LePen Flex, that's what they're called. That's when I got these. And so I drew Mongo, which turned out pretty cool. I really like his expression. I drew Karma, not quite as cool. I wish I had done something with the background. And then Pepper. And he's a cutie patootie. And then I drew some goldfish swimming around him. I love drawing with pen. It's permanent and it doesn't smudge. Yeah. This was storyboarding for my Sailboat to China animation that I wanted to do. I really hope I'm able to do this year. For this, I took intermediate drawing, and so one of our assignments was to do kind of a storyboard or narrative, and so I decided to use my Sailboat to China storyboard, and I chose 4 boards, 4 stills, and rendered them a bit more for my final product. More Sailboat to China. This was like kind of their more recent designs, and then I'm working on it a bit more in my new sketchbook. This was also my digital design class. We were working on some kind of movement animation, and so I decided to do a walk cycle of someone going down the stairs. More notes for my artist talk, I believe. I hate this. It's Mongo, and then Pepper, Mongo, and Karma. Pretty cute. Oh gosh. So this is one of the few times that I drew Zara and Serenity in here. They're my human characters. I hate this. It's so bad. Yeah, I drew this one and their Halloween costumes, or a version of their Halloween costumes. I drew Serenity as like this vampire clown, and then Zara as like a witch. More pumpkin blood stuff. So this is like telling the story of how VB and PK met. So the vampire boyfriend was turned against his will, and then he was ordered to try and kill the Pumpkin King, but Pumpkin King can't be killed. But instead of being angry, the Pumpkin King kind of just takes this man and keeps him for himself, I guess. Not really hurting him, just as a companion. But yeah, I like how this one turned out. Very cute. Very cute. So this one is also for my digital illustration. This was my class. This is my final project. We were supposed to choose a topic that we're passionate about, or like an issue that we're passionate about. I chose to do mine on homelessness and how you can become homeless at like any point in time, and like people kind of like ignore the homeless. And so yeah, this was what my story was about. It's like you're living your life and then something tragic happens, and then things just go downhill until you end up in a place you don't want to be. And yeah, I worked really hard on it, and then I messed up when I was exporting it from Clip Studio Paint, and so I don't like it very much anymore. Yeah. This was for my intermediate drawing class. For this project, we were supposed to combine two different art movements, and so I chose to combine Surrealism and Impressionism, and I turned it into this flower gossip illustration drawing. I really like it. My teacher really encouraged me to go for this kind of style. And then this was a little doodle that turned into a tiny watercolor painting that I did. This was the video for Halloween, I think. And so I drew Zara as a vampire queen, Serenity as a little demon, and I drew them as chibis. And I drew myself playing my Switch, and a scarecrow and a pumpkin. Pretty cool. These were all my end of year projects. I only really did 2 of them, and then I did this one in the spring. I really want to turn this one into an illustration. I might do that in my next sketchbook. These, I used no reference for them. I kind of just went with the flow. I really enjoy this one. It looks so dynamic and cool. Oh, let me do this. I hate how this one turned out. This was like one of the first things I did with my acrylic paint markers that I got. Probably draw another version of it. I've gotten much better at using the acrylic paint markers. This was the halfway point. I did record this, but then I hated it, so I deleted the video. I might do another version of this. I did this with gouache, like the Himi gouache, but it looks okay. It's just mango and pepper walking under a sky full of fish. More for my intermediate drawing class. I chose to do this one of the Emperor City. It was like this melty paint kind of look using ink. This was a list of things to do to get off my phone, because I had been rotting in my bed at the dorm for a little bit, and so I just wanted to make a list of things to do. This was a comic idea that I had for The Legend of Zelda with that character, I think it was Aiden, the guy with the sign where you had to help him put the Hudson Company sign up every time you see him. This was based off of a Pinterest illustration template, I think. This was the username that I found. I think it says 1ml_CMSN. I don't know if that's correct, but I don't know. But I drew Mongo in this wet situation, I guess. I did it with gouache, I think it was gouache. Oh, we were about to skip this one. So I drew Sidon. I didn't understand the hype of it when the game first came out, but I understand now. He's a pretty cool character. I did this with water-based markers, oil-based markers, and color pencils, and I think my Tombow Furunosuke brush pen. These brush pens. Yeah, I do a lot of mixed media. This is all Hunter. I don't really like any of these except for this one. I think the proportions are right for this sketch. These were both from Pinterest. I've seen someone draw this before. I'm really moving away from using Pinterest and trying to find other sources. This was also from Pinterest. Just drawing more fish. It was part of my theme. This is an unfinished illustration of dough that I wanted to draw. I think what I do have is still pretty cool. I might redraw this. Pretty empty page. I was gonna paint some flowers with watercolor on this spread. And then this was the beginning of Figure Drawing January by Josta. This was day 1, long pose for 10 minutes. This is my character Lapis. Just trying to do illustrations of him because I did draw him in my last sketchbook. I don't draw him very often though. I hate this gouache painting. I wish I had kept it as a pencil sketch. These are all food drawings of food that I had when I was in Korea, or desserts I had when I was in Korea. I can't turn the page. There you go. Oh, no. More figure drawing January. This is day 2 for gestures under 5 minutes. I really like this one. These gestures are from Pinterest, obviously. I think that Pinterest is good for things like this. More figure drawing January. This was day 3 for leg day. And then this was planning for that New Year's illustration that I did. And this was a sticker that I got from my friend. This was also a sticker that I got from my friend. She was a senior classmate that I had. This was coming up with my proposal for my directed studies class for spring 2026. And so I decided to go with the marine life kind of deal. So for my portfolio, I used fish as a symbol for greed because back in 3rd grade, we had these 2 pet fish, like class pet fish, and we fed them pretty regularly. But one day we had found that one fish ate another fish. And so that memory kind of stuck with me and really inspired me moving forward with my art. At least for this semester, for my portfolio. This is a ram sketch that turned into this big one that I did with my markers. I decided to come up with this fish disease idea where land animals are getting infected by fish scales. But my teacher didn't really like the idea, so I only made one painting, which was this one. I didn't really expand on it. This was just like a giant vulture meeting with a wizard. Oh, let me put this back. More ram. This I actually did turn into an acrylic painting, a big one. It turned out really cool. I switched this crow carrying a lantern to 3 bearded vultures being surrounded by fish. So in that painting, the fish laid deer as bait for the vultures so that they could come and eat the vultures. Yeah, these are some greedy fish, and they populate very quickly. So there's a whole bunch of them. More figure drawing January. Day 4 was contrapposto. Day 5 was sitting down. Day 6 was ballerina. Day 7 was dynamic pose. And that's as far as I got. I really like this one. So much movement. This was a sticker that I got for my job. So Static Wool had posted a Draw This in Your Style a while ago of like a knight getting kissed. I kind of forgot to draw Rye kissing Solaria though. But that inspired me to draw more Solaria, so it turned into this. This is Solaria. So cool. This is like when I really got into using the acrylic markers. I think I did this one before I did this one. Yeah. Or maybe it's the other way around. I don't remember. But this one turned out so cool. Some still lifes I did. This sketchbook is very random. Most of my sketchbooks are random. So I am trying to move away from just doing character art. And doing more like just expanding my visual library and like my ideas. So yeah, this was done with those LePen Flex whatever pens. And then this was from real life. This is imaginary, this is from real life. This was from the GSU Journaling Club. And then this is a coffee cart around Atlanta, and I made some stickers for them. So I made these stickers of their little duck character. And so if you're around Atlanta, you can see them and they'll have my stickers on their cart. They have some really good coffee too, so don't forget the coffee. But yeah, I'm gonna be putting one of these on my new sketchbook. So yeah, if you're interested, go check them out. They're on Instagram at pondercoffeecart. Very cute. These were sketches for another painting for my portfolio. I saw this video of somebody carving up a tuna for like sushi and sashimi. And so I had this idea of a tuna dinner feast. I didn't realize how big tuna were, so I really wanted to emphasize how large they were in this painting idea. But the final painting doesn't really look like this because I was a bit tired and lazy and didn't want to figure out how to draw the people or the figures and the tables and the perspective. So it ended up turning out like this. I'll pop it up on screen. Like, I think this idea would have been cool, but it didn't turn out exactly like this. Let me see. It turned out more like this. So for this, I got a new watercolor palette. It's like this Chinese brand. It's like this little palette that you can clip onto your sketchbook. It's so cute. but it has pretty vibrant colors, like on par with the Inktense Derwent watercolors. I actually turned this into a screen print. I don't know if I have a picture that I can show, but yeah, I really love it. This was for my drawing research class. I decided to expand off of fish, and I did this time sequence illustration showing like the different times of the day using shrimp for statues. And so you have like early morning, late morning, afternoon, sunset, and then nighttime, like midnight. And it turned into this gouache painting that I did. And then I added some animals as well. And yeah, I really enjoy how this watercolor sketch turned out. More Hunter. I wanted to turn this one into a full illustration, but I was lazy. I did turn this one into an illustration for Valentine's Day. This is more Rye and Solaria. At this point, I draw Rye and Solaria more often than Zara and Serenity. This is them getting married. This is watercolor and pen and ink. And I actually used them for my second project for my screen printing class, which was a zine. And yeah, when Rye and Solaria meet, Solaria is pretty injured and like collapses in front of or on the side of Rye's bakery. Yeah, that's how they meet. This is a redraw of a gouache illustration that I did a long time ago. I'll pop it up on screen if I have it. This is of Manguo in like this healing swamp or healing marsh. And yeah, I just wanted to play with the perspective because the one that I did a few years ago, it was like perspective was like straight on and not like interesting at all. So yeah, that's what this is. This was like for what I wanted to do after graduation. We had many talks during portfolio about what to do and like applying for an MFA, so this is notes on that. This was a tape on one of the screen printing inks when we were cleaning up the screen print lab, and then I redrew that fish character. This was coming up with the zine. It doesn't really look like that. It looks more like this on screen. This was a sticker from Amicalola Falls, a Dunkin' Donut sticker. A whole bunch of fish doodles that I did with my ink brush pen and some watercolor. More for my portfolio. I decided to use an octopus this time, and I'm actually redoing this painting on an actual canvas because I had done it on a really big canvas, but the canvas that I chose was more wasn't as narrow rectangular as like the sketchbook. I feel like this sketch works because of the size of the sketchbook. And so I'm using a very a very horizontal canvas for repainting it. But I really enjoy this sketch illustration. More Mongol stuff. This is planning for my shop. Oh my goodness. Mongol and Karma, Pepper, Mouse triplets, twins, this is like the only time I draw them in this sketchbook. This is Jasper and Jacqueline, Hunter, Lapis, and the Emperor. Very cute. I love how this rat looks. Karma sketches based off of stuff from Pinterest, or poses from Pinterest. don't like that. I like how dynamic this is. This was an event that I kind of went to. I arrived too close to the end of it, so they wouldn't actually let me in past the gate. But I like sat on a bench outside of the gate and drew people. Yeah. And then random tomato sketch. I wanted to do some more plant sketches, but once again, lazy. This was a sticker that I got from my friend, but I have 2 more stickers from this artist that I put on my other sketchbooks. The artist is jenquanzen. I see them all the time at like different events. And this is a sticker of Shincheng from Scum Villain Self-Saving System. I always love seeing their art. You should definitely go follow them. This is more of me and my 2D Sona random sketches. Just wanted to show myself some love. And this is like me painting or putting Mod Podge on the Emperor City sculpture that I did. Took a whole bottle of Mod Podge just to put the newspaper on the cardboard. Actually a bottle and a half, I think. These were coming up with the Ponder stickers. These are random doodles that I did. I really love this one. It's a crab saying, "I eat my babies." Because they do. I poop sand. These are all painting ideas that I did with watercolor. I turned most of these into like little acrylic marker doodles on this big piece of paper. But I did turn this one into a gouache painting and an actual big gouache painting, but I don't think I have a picture of it. Which these are supposed to be isopods, but they look more like roly-polies. I really enjoy how it looks overall. Like that to that. That's so cool. And then this was like trying to figure out the color palette of the Emperor City's sculpture that I did. And this is like me graduated. I graduated magna cum laude with a 3.83 GPA and honors and as a global scholar. And I got my BFA, my Bachelor of Fine Arts in drawing, painting, and printmaking. And little fun fact, I almost missed my graduation because it was raining super hard that day. And instead of a 30-minute drive, it was an hour and a half to get to the commencement center. And so when I got there, I got there like 15 minutes late, and students were still walking in, but they hadn't delayed the ceremony at all, so it just kept going. And I was very lucky because the College of the Arts was last to be called. So I still got to walk across the stage, but my hair looked a mess and my car made a weird noise, so it was a very weird day. Yeah, these were just final thoughts about after graduation. I was a bit scared about the whole AI thing, but then I realized that AI was kind of like affecting every sector of the workforce, and so I'm just going to continue doing my art and work as I can. I saw Project Hail Mary in theaters before it got pushed to digital, and so I had to draw Rocky. It's really cool. I loved that movie. It was so good. I definitely recommend watching it. And then this is just a fish doodle. I'm gonna really miss this pen. I need to go to Blick to get another one. It works very well. These were all doodles coming up with the final spread that I did. And I decided to go with this illustration of Karma holding Mongo while he sleeps at night and surrounded by fireflies, which turned into this final spread of Mongo and Karma. I did this with the Guangna acrylic markers. I like how the words turned out, the end, not the words, the letters. I wish I drew more fireflies, It was actually this illustration that made me late with posting this video, because technically this sketchbook has been done for like 2 weeks, maybe like 3 weeks at this point, but I kept coming back to this because I wasn't satisfied with it. But I just decided to stop working on it. Yeah, this is just a swatch page, and then this was from Sticker App, and this was for the motion community, which is in Atlanta. There isn't very much in here. This was for an exhibition at school. This is Ponder. This is creative journaling at GSU. More stickers from them. Let's see, was this? I think this might be the person I got my earrings from. This was an no ice press protest in the city. And then these were all notes for my not artist talk. It was for my artist statement and my portfolio from my fellow classmates. And so yeah, that's the end of sketchbook number 6. I really enjoyed using it. It was great getting back to using an Ohuhu sketchbook after that terrible experience with that Talens art creation sketchbook. But now I get to move on and use another sketchbook. So this is a Jenquanzen mixed media sketchbook. It's not a square bound, which you will notice. But I got it because it was on clearance at Michael's, and so I wanted to give it a try. This is from Yumiincolor. I don't remember who this is from, but my friend gave me both of these, and so I already started it. I'm trying to decide if I want to record the video for this intro spread, but yeah, I started it in May. I already wrote down my goals, which is to actually like flesh out some of my stories and characters. And this is planning for the intro spread. Yeah, so this is gonna look more like this. And I'm using gouache for it. But yeah, I want to do more stuff like this. I did do a few pages in this sketchbook already. Yeah. So that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this, please consider subscribing. And I will see you all next time. Goodbye.